Blender for Noobs.
Hello, this is Dan Nobles and welcome to Blender for Noobs. In this video we're going to be looking at using the MakeHuman program to bring over your human type creations over to Blender. Just a kind of a quick start guide. So the way to do this is you want to go to, if you don't already have MakeHuman, go to makehuman.org and look for the download MakeHuman button. Once you get that, you will see the different versions of MakeHuman that you can download. Download the appropriate version, go ahead and install it. Once it's installed, oh, by the way, make sure that you also go to blender.org and you have, of course, the latest version of Blender. Otherwise, it may not work. Now, once you have MakeHuman downloaded, go ahead and run it, and you'll get this warning in the beginning that says it contains nudity. Kind of sad, but that's what it says. So I'll just say yes, go ahead and run MakeHuman, and it opens up with our default human in there. So before we do anything, I'm just going to go over here to Geometries and Clothes, and I'm just going to throw some jeans on this person, just in case, there's some kids here and, their parents wander in the room and say, "What are you doing?" Anyway, so we'll start at the beginning with MakeHuman. Over here with Files, this is where you're going to save your actual creation here. But if we move over to Modeling, there's some things that you can do to your creation in order to configure it. So, of course, you have gender. You can, if you go all the way to the left, you'll make it a female. Go all the way to the right, it's a male. I'm going to make this one male. And age, all the way to the right is old. And all the way to the left is very young, almost like an infant. And in fact, with this tutorial, I'm just going to make this like a kung fu type baby. So I'm going to leave this on infant, and I'm going to give him just tons of muscle here. And you don't see too much happening yet, but as we add, I'm going to add some weight, and I'm going to add, I don't really want to add too much height, but I do want to add proportions. And as far as the ethnic background, I'm going to leave African right here, but I'm going to make him mostly Asian, since he's a kung fu expert. You can see once you go all the way to the right there, it knocks the other ones down. So kind of Asian baby. The controls, the navigation controls in MakeHuman is very similar to Blender. So if you mouse wheel up, actually it's opposite. If you mouse wheel down, it zooms in. And if you hold down your middle mouse button, you can kind of pan around a little bit. And with the left button, you can kind of move around the scene a little bit like that. You can also use some of these manipulators to get, front view, back view, side view, top view, all that kind of stuff, and, full view like that. So here's our baby so far. These are the different things that you can do under the modeling. I'm under main, so I'm going to go under gender. You can, change the gender. I'm not going to do anything with that here on this one. Face, you can change the age of the face. I mean, just all kinds of settings you can do. I'm not going to go through all these because these are very easy. They've made it very, very easy to play around with these. Most of them are just sliders. You can change it like this and look over at the categories that you're changing. You can change the categories and you'll get different actions here that you can do with them, which is very cool. So I'm going to go over to torso, and I'm going to give our Kung Fu baby more of a torso here, scaling horizontal. So now he's really pumped up. I'm not going to scale him vertical. I want him, actually, well, yeah, I'm going to make him a little bit shorter than what he is, make him a little bit more squatty. Okay, arms and legs, I'm not going to do anything with. In custom, there's nothing here that I need to do. So then we're going to move over to Geometries. And this is where you can do your clothes, eyes, hair, and all that stuff. So as far as the clothes, I'm just going to leave the jeans on him like this. You can choose shorts. You can put him in a suit if you want, which is very cool. I turn off jeans here. This suit's a little bit too big for him, but it looks really cool on a average size human. So I'll leave the jeans on and take the suit off, and you can add a shirt or whatever you want. So, and even a hat, which is really cool. So that's clothes. If you go over to eyes, this is the geometry of the eyes. So you can have high or low poly. Hair, Just like it says, you can change the hair around if you want. For my Kung Fu baby, I'm just going to leave him as bald. Teeth, you just get different types of teeth you can choose here. I don't know what the main differences are for them because I can't really see them very well here. But if we look at the MakeHuman site, we've probably looked that up. But I'm going to leave this as none because I'm not going to be doing any, open mouth poses with this Kung Fu baby or anything. So genitals, again, I'm not going to do anything with the genitals, but you can change to female, male to type genitals. Topology, if you choose these, you can get kind of like a lower proxy topology. I'm just going to leave it as none, which is the default. Eyebrows, it is amazing, and I'm going to zoom in on our Kung Fu baby here if I can. If you change the eyebrows, it's amazing the different kind of like personality you'll get out of these characters. So you want to choose the right eyebrows. For example, if this Kung Fu baby walked in on you and said, I'm going to kick your butt or whatever, you probably wouldn't be too concerned. But if this Kung Fu baby came in, you might be a little bit concerned. This one came in, you're starting to get kind of concerned. This one maybe not so much. But you can see how this really changes the look of the character. So I think I'm going to, he doesn't really need bushy eyebrows, but I think this fits him pretty well as far as the type of personality I want him to have. You can do eyelashes. I'm not going to put any eyelashes on him, and you can add a tongue in the mouth if you need it. So that's all of those options. Then you can go to materials, and under materials you have skin. Right now I'm just using the default. I can give him like a young Asian skin, like so, which maybe he should have, but you can experiment around with the different types of skins. Eye color, probably will leave as brown for him since he's mostly Asian, but you can change that color around if you want to. And then eyebrows, that's material here. I'm not sure what this does since it's already selected, but anyway, those are the materials. Then if you go to pose, animate, you can use different types of structure, bone structure for your character. And in this case, I'm just going to say none. I mean, they have Second Life and games and, basic things like that. But I'm going to be bringing this over into Blender, so I'm going to leave this as none. They'll also have settings for rendering, settings for the program itself, where you can change a lot of the preferences here. If you choose background, it's going to ask you, where your files are for those. You can change mouse options, shortcuts, and things like that. Utilities, same thing. It's got some utilities in here that I'm not really going to go over. So once you're happy with your Kung Fu baby or whatever you're making, then you can bring him over into Blender. And the way to do that is we want to go back to Files. And we're just going to, you can save him, by the way, if you want to save what you've done in MakeHuman so you can go back and change any options in MakeHuman, you'll want to save it here. But in this case, I'm not concerned about saving this. So I'm just going to do an export. And I'm going to choose the Blender Exchange format because we're going to bring it into Blender. And you can see there's other options here that you can do. When you choose one of these mesh formats, then look at your options over here. Basically, feet on the ground is selected by default. I'm going to choose the rotation limits, which I believe, if you rotate the arms and everything, it should have limits on there. For some reason, I don't see that working in Blender, but I could be doing it wrong. But anyway, I'm just going to check it. And then I'm going to choose also export for Rigify, which means that once you bring this character over into Blender, you're going to be able to use the rig on it in order to move the arms, the legs, and all that good stuff. So, and then you can choose scale units if you want a different scale unit. So once you're happy with all your settings here, then you just need to save it. And I'm going to call this one Kung Fu Baby. And I'm going to export. And once you do that, take note of what it's telling you here, because MakeHuman by default uses your documents directory, at least in Windows it does, and it's kind of hard to find if you don't remember where this is at. So I'm going to say okay, I've exported it. Now, one quick note here: if you go into export and you use this little button right here to decide where you want to export it to, I have tried to name my export here. Like if I want to say test and then do a save, and it says okay, it saved it. And if I go back and look in that directory, I don't see anything. So I don't know what's going on here. Maybe a little bit of a bug, but could be my system. I don't know. But anyway, it did save our original thing as long as we typed it in here and exported it. So once you have done that, you're pretty much done with MakeHuman, and we want to go over to Blender. So here we are in Blender. As you can see, I'm using the latest Blender version, 2.71, and there's a few things that we need to do to prepare to bring in our MakeHuman character. First and foremost, let's select the cube and X delete it. Get that thing out of the way. So some things you need to do is go up to File menu and go to your User Preferences and go to your File tab over here, or button, and you want to turn this on. This is off by default, this auto execution. You want to turn auto run Python scripts on. And by the way, if you don't do the things that I'm telling you here, you'll get some errors when you try to import your MakeHuman file. So if you get errors, it means you didn't do these things. So you need to do that. Then go to add-ons, and by default, the MakeHuman format is not on by default. So just type in MakeHuman. Oops, MakeHuman. As you start to type it, you'll see it come up here. This is the import-export for MHX format. And make sure you check that. Next, type in rig, and you will see rigging Rigify. You will want to check that as long as you chose, like I did, to export the rig also. If you want to be able to move your character around, move the arms and things like that, you'll want to use this. So once you have those set, you can choose to save the user settings, and we'll just close this. And now when you go File, Import, you will now see this MakeHuman format here, and you can choose that, and then you can go look to where your MakeHuman was downloaded. In my case, it's under V1, I believe, Exports, Kung Fu Baby. So I choose that, and I choose Import MHX. As soon as I do that, it will import that model, and here we go with our Kung Fu Baby right there. So we have our MakeHuman character, but if we do a look in the render view, so I'm going to just do a Shift Z and render him, you can see that, well, he's there, but yeah, his genes didn't come out right and his skin doesn't look right or anything. And let me go ahead and grab this and make it a sun, just so we can kind of see what's going on a little bit better. And while I'm at it, why not just make a plane, scale it up, just so we'll have a little bit better view of our Kung Fu Baby here. Okay, so what do we need to do? We need to get the textures that we need. Those don't come over by default created the way you'll need textures created. If there is an add-on to do that, and anybody knows that, let me know. There may be some information on the MakeHuman site about that, but as far as I know, you have to set up your textures. So here's how we do this. Actually, let me use this window here. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to leave my render view up just so I can see the changes. And I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to select the genes first of all, if I can. Okay, and if you go over here, and we're going to go to our materials, you can see that, well, you can see partially, but this is the basic materials that it is using. So Gene 01 material. So we need to get this material set up correctly. So I'm using cycles, and in that case I need to use nodes. So I'm going to change one of these windows to the node editor. Okay, let me choose N to get rid of that. So by default, we have our diffuse node here, but that's not going to get us the genes. We need a texture there. So I'm going to do a Shift A, choose texture, and choose image texture. Just bring it up here and just plug in color to color, yellow to yellow, right there. Okay, and now we need to choose open, and we need to find the texture that should have been exported along with everything else. So find out where your MakeHuman model was stored, go to the textures folder, and then find that genes texture that you need. In this case, I'm just going to use the diffuse. And as soon as you do that, you can see that it's applied the texture to the material, which is great. So now what we need to do is do the actual model. So I'm just going to select him. You can see that's using the texture skin. So same thing, choose use nodes, do a Shift A, add an image texture, plug these in, and make him all pink and everything, or magenta, or whatever the heck that is. Choose open, go find your textures, and I'm going to choose the skin, which I guess I gave him the female skin by mistake, but anyway, I'll choose that, open that up, and you can see that he has skin. So great. So he's looking kind of evil with his white eyes and white eyelashes there, or eyebrows. So we need to do the same thing there. I'm just going to choose eyebrows. It's using eyebrow. Use nodes, Shift A, plug in an image texture, plug that in, open up, go to your textures, find the eyebrow texture, add that, there's the eyebrows. Same thing with the eye. It's using eyes brown. Use nodes, Shift A, texture, image texture, color, color to color, open, find the textures, and we're going to find the eye texture, plug that in, and there is our Kung Fu baby ready to kick some butt. So pretty cool. I mean, very quickly you can create some type of human with MakeHuman and bring it right into Blender. Very cool. A few things that I would like to note about doing that is MakeHuman is an excellent program for bringing in characters, creating characters very quickly. If you are beginning to modeling and modeling is what you're going for, you're not really going for doing animations and multiple character setups and things like that, then I would highly recommend taking a full body modeling tutorial where you're actually going in, you're creating the entire model. Everybody who is interested in modeling and 3D modeling and does 3D modeling should do that at least once. There is tons of things to learn from that. While it is true you can take these characters and you can use them however you want in your program and create whatever you're trying to create with them, that's great, and it's very quick and it's nice. But again, nothing can really replace the experience of modeling type of character in Blender, or for that matter, any 3D program. The other thing that I want to mention is if we look at this character, see if we can zoom in here. Yeah, the eyes aren't really showing up too well. Yeah, we're not seeing eyes at all. The reason for this is when you bring these things over, I just added the diffuse to these materials. So for example, if we look at, grab the eye here, I just have a diffuse material. There is certain things that you need to set up in the nodes for those materials. So keep that in mind. That's something that I've done in detail in tutorials that I've done on a different channel that I used to have. But if there's, a very high number of people that are interested in learning how to do that, I can do a tutorial on that. Oh, and then one more thing before I close this tutorial. As you can see, you have your rig set up here. So if you go in here and you select one of these controllers, not that one, but something like this, you can do an R rotate and you can actually start to pose your character in some way. So as you can see, there is no limits on the rotation here. And I don't know if I'm thinking about the right rotation limits, but that was my idea of what rotation limits should be. But anyway, so that is how you very quickly can bring over a very cool character from MakeHuman to Blender. Both completely free programs. Simply awesome. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next video.